Stay there, lads. On, please. Hands. Take your hands out of your pockets. Four 7, 3 miles stopped at the moment. One wearing rubber gloves.
Glee, 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 glee. Sweet, 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 sweet. Set like 2 G's. Blood, I got the blicky on me. That blicky. Set like 2 G's. Blood, I got the blicky on me. Blickety, 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 blip. Shut up, boy, man, let that glee. Glee, 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 glee. Sweet, 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 sweet. Set like 2 G's. Blood, I got the blicky on me. I got the blicky on me.
Dude, very old. This is definitely a reminder to the youngers to be very careful. This story started on November the 18th, 2021. At 7 PM, a 13-year-old boy was shot in Hockley, and he was shot in the back and he was disabled. It has now been confirmed. Initially, it was speculation, but it's now been confirmed that he was left disabled after this shooting. And police said at the time that a black SUV vehicle was seen and 3 occupants got out and the boy was shot. I covered the original story a year ago, and now a year later, 3 people have been convicted for the attempted murder of the 13-year-old, and more details are now able to be discussed. The Birmingham police and also the local media has spoken about the fact that they're connected to a gang called AR, which is Armed Response, which is an offshoot of the Burger Bar Boys. One of the 3 that have been found guilty is Zidane Edwards. He's known as Coolie 18, and he's a rapper from Birmingham who's had a lot of views online and social media from his music.
Set like 2 G's. Blood, I got the blicky on me. Blickety, 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 blip. Shut up, boy, man, let that glee. Glee, 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 glee. Sweet, 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 sweet. Set like 2 G's.
Himself along with Diego Anderson, both now aged 20, and a 17-year-old who cannot be named for legal reasons, were all convicted of attempted murder on the 2nd of August after a 6-week trial at Birmingham Crown Court. The 17-year-old was also convicted of possession of a prohibited weapon. They will be sentenced on the 7th of October 2022. The shooting happened in November last year at Hockley Circus, Birmingham. The victim and his friends were in the city and they were on their way to get food when they were attacked. Despite his injuries, the boy managed to call the police. The firearms officers arrived at the scene and gave life-saving first aid before the paramedics arrived. The police investigation involved them gathering CCTV, and it showed a car on the A41 before stopping abruptly at the service road. Edwards, Anderson and the 17-year-old all got out. The 13-year-old and his friends were chased into the underpass, and a homemade shotgun known as a slam gun was fired, and it hit him in the back and left him paralysed. The footage showed Edwards, Anderson and the 17-year-old running from the scene and also driving off. Police later tracked down the vehicle and recovered it, and further examination were able to link them to the car. The police said in a statement after they arrested them that was able to gather clothing that was used in the shooting on the day and several phones that helped to build the case. Officers recovered a handgun and also a slam gun from an address that was linked to the 17-year-old, and further examination was able to prove it was the weapon that was used in the incident. Detective Inspector Michelle Caudle from the 4th CID said this unprovoked and callous attack by Zidane Edwards, Diego Anderson and the 17-year-old changed the life of this 13-year-old and his family forever. The impact of the actions are heartbreaking, and my thoughts remain with the boy, his family and also friends. From the outset, the police said that they worked tirelessly to try to solve the case and worked with their partners to gather evidence, and the collective work and dedication helped to lead to the conviction. So they haven't been sentenced yet, but I definitely will update it on that. But in relation to Coolie 18, being a rapper from Birmingham, he's released a lot of music, and he's also even referenced the channel in some of his music as well. In one song with somebody called Insane 18, who went on to be arrested for a firearm. I covered the story of the arrest and the charge of the firearm, but they referenced that story in the video.
Blocked up the whole road.
Today, and this first story comes from Birmingham. 3 other men in a Volkswagen Polo connected to the incident made off from officers. When sighted, they were spotted on Harmer Street, and the 3 occupants were arrested. Very old. This is definitely a reminder to the youngers to be very careful. In relation to his music as well, Coolie 18 was a new generation rapper, and he was very blunt and very straightforward with his music. He made songs such as Gunman as well, which was very hard to justify in relation to it being just music as well, due to the lyrics that he'd use and the references that he'd make.
I am a gunman, I am a gunman, I am a gunman. gunman, I am a gunman, I am a gunman. I am a gunman, I am a gunman, I am a gunman.
Coolie has been rapping since at least 16 years old, and he's probably been involved on the street for a lot longer. And he did do an interview with Big Ego Entertainment, but I believe that was taken down during the trial so as not to affect it. And that is the main reason why we haven't been able to speak about his case up until now. A lot of people were made aware of Birmingham gang culture from the New Year's Eve murders of Letitia Shakespeare and Charlene Ellis, who were the collateral damage of a drive-by shooting with a Mac-10 submachine gun outside a hair salon. But even before then and following it, there's always been a culture in the city. In 2017, the police took out injunctions to actually ban certain people from associating with each other and even having phones and also vehicles that the police were not aware of. This was in connection to the Burger Bar Boys and the Johnson crew. And these gang injunctions stopped people from entering certain parts of the city, and it was one of the first times that it was ever used. Some people were even stopped from appearing in music videos, and these were shown in the court proceedings. And another big case as well in relation to armed response was Riel Phillips. He was 21 years old when he was jailed for 27 years, and they believed that he was responsible for 7 shootings in Birmingham in a feud that had gone on at the time. Riel's sentence was actually reduced, I believe, by 10 years after he appealed it as well. So thankfully this young boy didn't die, but the consequences of their actions, these 3 young men will have to suffer for the rest of their life. And I really appreciate you joining me today and following this story for as long as it's taken. And please don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe, and follow on social media at Scarcity Studios on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter and Facebook. And I'll be back again very shortly with some more news.
Let me show you about the life I live, let me show you. Everyone know, look and see if you violate him or blast or whip. And you ask everyone in Brum if you ain't robbed or shagged up pricks. Everyone. Real life shotgun user, abuser, ops get pressured by him.